With a dozen roses, such would astound you. The joy of children laughing around you. These are the makings of you. It is true, the makings of you. The righteous way to go, little one would know.
About, man. Them motherfuckers, they be getting that shit from Pakistan, right? They goes to Lagos. They be bringing it over here in diplomatic pouches, man. They rocking the Bronx with that shit.
Is that right?
Funny. One time we used to look to him for our history and our culture.
You want history and culture, you read National Geographic and shit.
Tell you, man, no, we get with these motherfuckers, man, we can get out of bed with Gus and the rest of them wop-guinea motherfuckers, man, like a bunch of cheap $2 hoes.
Let's motherfucking go over and take care of some business. Come on.
Hey! Untumbe! How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing, Renato? How are you?
Very good.
How's it going?
This is my brother, Mello here.
It's a pleasure.
Told you all about him.
How you doing?
He's, what's the deal?
Well, we've been thinking about this, Renata, and it won't work. We can't work with Akata. You know, you do your thing.
Wait, this is my brother. He's a very, very busy man.
I understand. This is not a personal thing. It is something we cannot do it.
Hey! What's my fucking ass, man?
Calm down, man. Just calm down. Okay, it's okay. I'm sorry. Look, my brother was under the impression that you were going to do some business. Maybe we can just have a seat, have a drink, maybe sit down, have a nice little diatribe, so we can work this out.
Well, don't take this personally, Romelo. It won't work. You do your thing, I do my thing. You know? It won't work. We can't work with Akata.
Akata. What is this Akata shit? Like American?
Oh, shit. Cotton picker.
Peace to the family. Welcome to another episode of Do Not Radio, place when I'm on shows now going online. I got the family in the building, okay? In this FBA safe zone, so it becomes an honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others. The people who are on the ground, the people who are pushing forward this Black future that we so need. No space of identity crisis. Got the expert minds here to say what this is and what it's not, what foundational Black American movement is and what it's not. So again, I got my Uncle Tad in the building, got my warrior sister K Fighter, thorough Black talk, got President Divine of the Freedmen, got Sister Brooke here in the building, and of course, you know, I got Godcast on. My brother, my A-alike, sincere love to God in the building, man. Peace to the family. Peace to my brothers and sisters. How y'all feeling today?
Peace.
Feeling good.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
Peace.
Ready to go, brother. Ready to go.
So for y'all, I think we could go around one by one. What was it about this particular designation that attracted y'all initially? I don't know if everybody has the same kind of background like Uncle Tad and Sister K Fighter. So what was it about FBA as a whole for you that was like, all right, I need to do some research, I need to do my due diligence and see how I can get involved?
Who do you want to go first?
I'll probably kick it over Sister Brooke. Sister Brooke ready to go. Look, she ready already.
Yeah, I'm always ready. Well, let's see. It started with the unconstitutional bill that was passed here in New York regarding reparations. And I knew that it was unconstitutional. So I immediately wanted to do something about it, but I didn't know what to do. And so I've had some history with just doing work in the community. And but like I said, something when it comes to like bills, I didn't know what to do. And so I had that still small voice that, like Dr. Frances Cress Welsing always talked about, that just tells you, she talked about how that's how she met Nellie Fuller. She had that still small voice in her talking to her melanin saying, go to the Black Power meeting, go to the Black Power meeting. And for me, it was go to the Schomburg, go to the Schomburg. And that's where I met President Divine. He's that way. I met President Divine and the U.S. Freedmen Project. With my nerdy self, I had the bill in a manila folder, highlighted and underlined. And he looked down at me and was like, yeah, we know. And so I joined with them, and, that was all she wrote. And as far as like with my big sis Keisha, my big bro Tad, I had worked with Tariq Nasheed on the Rally for Reparations behind the scenes. And I met Dr. Short. And, in my talk with Dr. Short, I was telling him, because I've done some things in the past. I won't necessarily get into that unless you want me to. But I've done some things in the past, and Dr. Short recognized that I needed to be around more like minds. And that is when he introduced me to Keisha, and then Keisha introduced me to Tad, and they've been my OGs ever since.
It's definitely dope. You brought up Dr. Short. You took me back right there. You understand what I'm saying? Took me back, right?
I speak to
President
Dr.
Divine.
Short quite often.
Yeah, peace to the fam. Definitely excited to be here. Definitely excited to approach and talk about this topic, especially with the amount of disinformation and as well as slander that's going on around this topic at this point in time. So I'm glad that we're here to clear this up, and there's no better panel that I can imagine being a part of to do that. So Sister Brooke kind of talked about our origin story as far as meeting each other. But before that snapshot in time, think about up to 2 years prior to that, we had been advocating for lineage-based repair as a advocacy group here in New York. And I am the current president of the U.S. Freedmen Project. And the way that came to be is long before I got into this space of remedial justice, I was what most people would categorize as a Black capitalist. I really thought that we could really bootstrap our way out of this. And one of the biggest takeaways that I still hold on to from that moment in time, even though now that has been proven to be false, is that my mentor at the time told me, he said, if you see that something needs to get done and you look around and see that nobody else is doing it, that means it's supposed to be you. And with that implanted in my mind, I looked around at the current political landscape at the time. We were looking for lineage repair, and I found that all of our Pan-African organizations, all of our non-Pan-African legacy organizations were not doing what the U.S. Freedmen Project is currently doing and plans to do for the rest of our lives, and that is fighting exclusively and solely for those families that have ancestors that was enslaved and emancipated in the U.S. Many of those organizations claim to do that. None of them do. And in fact, most of them have elevated not only the immigrant agenda, but the illegal alien agenda above who we now have called ourselves to be Foundation Black Americans. At the time, we had chosen Freedmen as the name of our organization because we said this, not to give all the tea that was going on in the back room, but in the green room, and kind of to one of Sister Brooks' talking points, if you will, when we talk about calling our ancestors by the right name, and I'll let her expound on that. One of the things that we thought about when we were forming this organization is that how will our ancestors that we're fighting for recognize us if we're not calling them by the right name. We knew that there needed to be a separation from the Afrocentric or the African-centered movements when we were looking to do something here on this land that our ancestors built. And we chose freedmen because of the legal and judicial precedent that is set. Whereas when in 1865 they established the Freedmen Bank and the Freedmen Bureau, that was the last time our ethnic group, our lineage, had specific policies that was simply and totally for us based on what this country did exclusively to us. And as we were thinking about a new name publicly, we've heard many of the different names, but as we are here and settling on foundational Black American because of how precise that is, describing those of us that came before us and where we are now, all the while still being the foundation of the country we built. I always say socially, foundational Black American delineates, legislatively, freedom disaggregates. And putting them together is putting us in a very powerful position during what I call the Black American Renaissance.
Appreciate you, President Devon. Sincere love to God. And shout out to Mama Love. I see Mama Love in here. You gotta start perking up. So if y'all wondering why Mama Love in the building, we official.
Yes, indeed. Peace to Mama Love. What's going on, Mama Love? Yeah. So the question is, what made us start to embrace this delineation movement? What was the origin of me embracing that movement? Is that the question? Let me make sure I understand the question correctly.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just logical. You know what I'm saying? Like my background is in the nation of gods and herbs. You know what I'm saying? And we were always taught to find truth wherever it may show itself. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it just made logical sense. When it came about, I started to get started to educate myself more politically. And I was looking at what Dr. Claude Anderson talked about with the benign neglect policies, that were being implemented to basically erase our people, to pretend that we didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? And to pile all of these other groups on top of us. So I was looking at that. I'm studying Dr. Claude Anderson. At the same time, I'm reading Brother Neely Fuller's book. And, all of this stuff is happening politically. And I'm paying attention to that, real close to what's going on with that and the language that's being used in the articles. And I'm tapped into the new Black media. You know what I'm saying? I'm tapped into brothers like Tariq Nasheed and others, Sister Vicky Diller and others who are out there breaking down current events in a way that I really haven't heard broken down before. You know what I'm saying? They're really combing through these articles that they're putting out there and exposing the language and getting me to see it more clearly about what the game that was being ran behind the scenes. And so, when people started talking about American descendants of slaves and people started talking about freedmen and all of that, it just made logical sense to me. You know what I'm saying? I already know who I am. I know my family history and things of that nature already. So it wasn't really complicated. It wasn't really nothing that I thought would even be controversial, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? It was something that, it was a light bulb that went off because I had never really looked at it like that before. You know what I'm saying? I just saw, all Black people, regardless of where they come from, as just being part of just one group. You know what I'm saying? It was just that, what do you call it? That flat Black identity. You know what I'm saying? But, when you started hear people talk like this, you're like, you know what? That's true. You know what I'm saying? We are unique. You know what I'm saying? We do have our own special history that's separate and apart from other people. And other people always acknowledge theirs. And, it's never a problem. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I didn't think it was going to be a problem with us acknowledging ours. But here we are. So again, for me, it was just a logical thing. It wasn't really complicated. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, that's who I am. That makes sense. Need to start repping that. Straight like that.
Chad.
Yeah, I echo my brother Sincere Love God sentiments. So it was a no-brainer. And for me, I've always been a proponent for family history. I knew both of my grandmother's mothers. I was about between 9 and 11 when both of my great-grandmothers transitioned. Both of them have always, the family acknowledged them as Cherokees. You know, so I would be like, Ma's an Indian or Mama Granny's an Indian. You know, that was my great grandmother's name, Ma and Mama Granny. But never associated myself with that lineage or bloodline because I grew up in the 70s and the 80s where everything was Black power, Black pride, and like Sincere said, you know, flat blackness. So in my sojourn, I know who my ancestors are, my lineage, my elders in my family, but I bought into a whole nother identity that existed outside of my family. And joined the Black Power movement, the Pan-African movement, did a lot of work within that space, but always knew as sure as we can honor people across the Atlantic Ocean, why aren't we honoring those that we knew personally, those that are buried here? You know, so it was a no-brainer. And I think I can speak for K Fighter as well when I say that even in our Pan-African spaces, we always encourage people, do your own family history, do your own family research. So once a name came to this, because we did study Dr. Claude, we was introduced to Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. through the teachings of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. You know, I sat at the feet of many great scholars, but I've always been Tad from Brooklyn. I've never been from nowhere else, never wanted to be nobody else. And I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of my family and my lineage and my bloodline. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to represent me.
Appreciate you, Tad. Sister K Fighter.
As the rest of the panel has already expounded upon, Tad and I come from the Pan-African movement. When you think of the great scholars and including contractual and political achievements, we've been a part of that for many, many years. Back in 2016, we began to tell people to research your own family, see who you are, right? I never changed my name. You know, Keisha is the name my mother and father gave me. K Fighter is what friends that I went to school gave me. And it's a story behind that I'll tell for another day. But, you know, and being in that, I saw a lot of things that were not conducive to who we are as people here on this soil. However, at that time, I began doing my own family genealogy on both sides. And it led me to a place of clearer understanding, because you have to remember, when you do your family's genealogy, it's just not a name, a place, and a date, but there are stories behind those people. And so I have been fortunate enough to sit with family members who told me the stories, who were able to pass on to me written documents that my fifth great grandparents wrote for themselves, going to their grave sites, and then you know, sitting down with the family based on the information that I was able to research and find, and make the story even greater. And so on both sides of my family, they look at me as the genealogist to the family. However, I learned from other genealogists in the family. But, you know, one thing I can say is that when you know your own story, it puts things in proper perspective. And Pan-Africanism, to me, doesn't focus too much on our sojourn here. As far as genealogy is concerned, you are always looking to Africa. But even in that, you don't know the full story. A lot of people are operating with antiquated information. We are in 2026, February to be exact, and you may have books by the great scholars and historians, but they only told you part of a story. And a lot of people, to me, in Pan-Africanism, idol worship, and that can be problematic. And so I'm not into that. Like Tad said, he Tad from Brooklyn. I'm Keisha from Fort Greene, Brooklyn. It is what it is. Like, that's who I am. And so, that's what made me understand Dr. Claude Anderson even further. And so when, as Brother Sincere mentioned, the independent Black media outlets such as Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, Tariq, and others, Vicky Dillard, and so many others, to name, and even his platform, I learned a lot from. So it just puts the story together for me. And this is where I am. This is where we should be. And this is how we will move forward forever.
As I get this bomb together, I want to thank y'all. You understand what I'm saying? I want to thank y'all for making it plain on what it is, right? So I want to take a little time to focus on what it's not. And, we kind of talked about it. And I did my own research. I was like, all of this backlash from just saying, hey, this is where we at. So could we look at the disinformation, the misinformation, the outright slander, the lies, the foolishness, associated with this particular way of life in regards to delineation and the like. So I think if we start with Sister Brooke again, she always ready. She ready right now.
Always ready, especially on this part right here. Because I grew up in East Flatbush. So I always had my flag. Everybody else had their flag. I always had my flag. I'm always, you know what I'm saying? You're going to see pictures of me, you know what I'm saying, at Labor Day with red, white, and blue. Then when the red, black, and green American flag came out, you used to see me with that flag. I've always repped being American and in a sea full of Caribbeans. So I never got nobody never gave me no slack for it. In fact, I used to go to soca parties all the time. I had a nickname. My nickname was American Pepper Sauce because everybody know, you know what I'm saying, I'm hot like fire. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I didn't understand where the backlash was coming from either. It was like, so when why is it different now? What is the problem now? So I don't quite the only thing you could think of is when you start getting into the political side of this work, right? And President Divine says this all the time, that there are legacy organizations that get paid. Well, and let me start with something that Sister Keisha said at one time when we went to a Caribbean conversation, right? It was a Caribbean corner and they was having a conversation about us, without us, but we popped up on them and they wasn't expecting it. So therefore, you know what I'm saying, it became an intellectual beatdown. You know what I mean? So she said they're so used to leaning. And that's the only thing that I could think of, because when President Divine started doing this, the legacy organizations like, December 12th and National Action Network and the NAACP, they were trying to get their money off the top or for this unconstitutional bill. So regardless if we get reparations or not, they was going to get their money in the bill. If President Divine and the U.S. Freedmen Project wasn't there to stop it. And that's the only thing I could see, is that people are seeing certain piles of money that are going to dry up. Because like I said, when I used to have my American flag, nobody said nothing. I had never even heard the term Makata till being online. And I grew up in a place full of these people. So I don't know if I am so thorough that they knew better not to say it in front of me. Or, you know what I'm saying, if they were just talking about me behind my back. But I'd never heard that term before. And so, I can, like I said, I can only think that now it's a problem. Or maybe just the people that I chose to be around don't think that way. I'll also put it in those, in that lens, that the friends that I have don't focus on things like that. Maybe that's what it is. But like I said, I definitely see people, and when you start messing with people's money, it becomes a problem. And so, and I think that's kind of where we're at right now. It's like they're seeing the gravy train line up, because and of all the people to quote, I really hate to quote her, but you know, it is true. To quote Ann Coulter, we don't owe any, this country doesn't owe a debt to anybody but foundational Black Americans. They don't owe a debt to Caribbeans. They don't owe a debt to Africans. They don't owe a debt to illegals. They don't owe a debt to immigrants. They don't owe a debt to these people. The country owes a debt to foundational Black Americans for the hundreds of years of slavery and the building of this country for free. So a debt is owed to us. So if we are not on the front lines, if we are not the ones fighting for your cause, it's not going to get the same clout. It's not going to get the same attention. It's not going to get the same funding. It's not going to get any of these things. And what we started noticing is that people are getting funding based off of our legacy and history here, and then we end up with nothing. And that's a huge problem. And that's the main reason why we have to politically separate, you know, aside from if you want to just even take reparations out of it, right? Because with reparations, if we couldn't add anybody if we wanted to, because if we add you, it makes it unconstitutional. So we could, the laws here, and it's understandable that people don't understand the constitutionality of the situation because it's not your constitution. So of course you don't understand it, because I'm not going to go to your country and act like I understand your constitution or whatever the heck y'all got over there. I don't know. I don't even know how UK works, how you got a king and a parliament. I don't freaking know. Okay. It ain't none of my business either. So it's understandable that they don't understand it, but the truth of the matter is, even if we wanted to include all of our cousins, long distance cousins, we cannot, because it would make it unconstitutional. And why would you, as someone who looks like me, want to deem my claim for my birthright unconstitutional? Why would you want to do that? All the while you have your claim and we're not over there meddling in yours. Why would you want to do that? And that's a question I'm going to leave for the viewers. You tell me. You understand what I'm saying? Because if it's a scorched earth situation, that's what's happening. If you put yourself in it, you're scorching out, and this is the only chance we have. Because if we don't get it from this government, we can't go to the UK. If we don't get it from this government, we can't go to Spain and ask them for reparations because they don't owe us reparations. If we don't get it from this government, we can't then go to France and ask them for money because they don't owe us reparations. So this is our only chance to get what we are deserved. We don't get 2 cracks at this. 2, 3, 4 cracks at this. So if you are here to deem, why would you want to do that? And I'll leave that as a question for your viewers.
Man. Hot fire. But Brooke, I just want to say that Ann Coulter was basically quoting Dr. Claude Anderson anyway, so we'll give the props to him.
Right, that's true. You're right about that.
President Divine, I want to kick it to you with the disinformation, misinformation, pushback, you know, in regards to delineation. But I want to add a small caveat because everybody's working in the reparations space, so I want to kind of add that too as a focal point in that regard. The pushback associated with reparation, and just a tiny little nuance with some people think it's a pipe dream. They're not aware of what's actually happening, what's going on, and how y'all are moving towards this objective. So I want to highlight that as well.
Man, I'm glad you threw the alley because I was trying to wondering how I was going to sit here and bring it back. I like to bring things full circle, so I want to acknowledge the clip you played in the beginning, right? By quoting the famous songwriter. See, I heard the songwriter say that my 16s be so real. You could feel it in your veins like Romelo's pops from Sugar Hill. And I'm saying that to say, to that pipe dream caveat you add on, this goes perfectly. The reason why they think it's a pipe dream, because of how real our 16s have always been. See, we stood 10 toes down and fought our way out of enslavement that nobody thought we was getting out of. And to put it in your same words, many thought was a pipe dream. While those that come over and think this is a pipe dream are those that got on the nearest pipe, in a tube, or whatever they could find that floats to come over here. And so it all seems like a dream when all you know how to do is run. But when you stand and fight, you don't have to go to sleep to get the life you know you deserve. You're going to put in the work that we've always put in. And that's why it's never been a dream for us. See, Dr. King had a dream, right? And most of what he dreamt about, we've turned into reality because we already knew how to separate facts from fiction. Most of these other groups do not know how to do it because most of what they regurgitate and much of the information is the fiction that was told to them at the immigration office or by the white supremacists that they look to align themselves with. And so they don't deal in reality at any point in their existence. Their reality is what white supremacy tells them it is. And then they get mad at us because we've defied that reality at every turn. And so to kind of go more in depth about down that line of what it's not is everything they say it is. Because they're on the outside looking in. They wouldn't know if we told them. Because we told them and they still don't know. It is what we say it is. Because it's our culture. It's our movement. It's our country. See, Sister Brooks said something quite profound. See, you don't understand the constitutionality of it all because it ain't your constitution. Where in 1890, Callie House stood on that very same constitution that those coming here was telling her wasn't hers. When she said, you know, we're going to sue the government for the taxes that y'all collected on the cotton that my ancestors picked. And I can stand on that and sue you for that because we've been day one citizens. But you still got jokers from the diaspora coming over here to us today telling us that we weren't day one citizens. That the 14th Amendment gave us our citizenship. When all the 14th Amendment did was codify our citizenship because we were already voting in all the states that it took to ratify that Constitution. See, they don't know that because it's not their Constitution. And I say this often because this is where the disrespect comes in. That's really what we're dealing with. It's not about understanding or misunderstanding, information or disinformation. It's about respect and disrespect. And disrespect allows them to try to come in and tell us what our reality is, where we, as Foundational Black Americans, and all of us on this panel have traveled. We will do extensive study, and I've said this before, and especially for myself, I'll speak for me, matter of fact, let me do that. I have done extensive study, even if I was going to spend a weekend in another Afro-populated country, so that I do not step on nobody's toes or disrespect their culture and local customs. And just show them respect that they're due because I know that white supremacy doesn't do it. And that's just for a weekend. How do you flee your country, pledge allegiance to the flag that you say ain't ours, do no research on the native population here, and then come in and try to dictate and run shit? You know what that sounds like? Colonized people, colonizing people. And I'll land my submission on this because I think this sums it up for me at least. We've all heard the saying, when you live the life of privilege, equality feels like oppression. We know that's our relationship with the white supremacists. Here's our relationship with the diaspora. When you've lived a life of cultural exploitation, boundaries feel like division. And I'll land there.
All right, so for Sincere, Uncle Chad, and Sister K Fighter, I'm gonna add another little nuance to it for y'all. The pushback you've got from your own people in regards to this. the pushback y'all got from your own people, in addition to the outsiders, not people from another place, not the tether squad, y'all call them tether squad, the internal people, the people you love, the people you actually fighting for. You understand what I'm saying? In regards to how you designated yourself and how you delineated.
Yeah, man. First of all, you got to stop putting me after them too, because how I'm supposed to follow that up? But it's funny that you say that, because I was over here thinking to myself too. You know, it's not just the tethers that you get the pushback from. It's not just the tethers, and I want to make sure that we clear, because we're talking about so-called misinformation, but it's not information. It's not misinformation when they say it's an organization. It's not misinformation when they say it's an ideology. It's not information. These are lies, and they know that they're lying. You know what I'm saying? And so the tethers, they have their reason why they do it, because the truth pulls the rug from out from under them. You know what I'm saying? Everything, all of the unearned benefits that they're able to receive by tethering on to our history and our culture, all of that gets snatched away. So that's their reason. That's their reason for lying. But then you have some people that are from the lineage that may be a part of some of these Pan-African organizations. They got some kind of book they trying to sell. They got some kind of back to Africa trip that they trying to sell, some type of, you know, red, black, and green, something or other that they got going on that they trying to sell. And they feel like that this truth is drying that up. But the key thing is, this is not misinformation. These are lies, and these people know that they're lying. But the one lie that they tell that I want to focus in on, because like I said, Sister Brooke and Brother Divine, they already you know, they said a lot of stuff that needed to be said there. But one thing that they like to say is that us talking about that we are foundational Black Americans and that we had an ethnogenesis starting around sometime in the 1500s. They say, well, if you say that, then that means that's like you saying your history starts with slavery. You don't got no history before slavery. And they try to associate that with the brainwash from, you know, the imperialists and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But we need to make it clear. We're not saying that our history begins with slavery. We understand that we are ancient people. You know what I'm saying? We understand that our roots run deep across continents, you know what I'm saying, throughout history and time. But we are talking about an ethnogenesis, the formation of a distinct peoplehood and placement. So we understand that, you know, we are connected to the original man. Like I said, you know, I've been God body since I was a child. You know what I'm saying? That hasn't changed. Nothing about this delineation movement contradicts anything that I learned from studying those lessons. You know what I'm saying? And so we understand that we are the original man. But again, we're talking about an ethnogenesis, and we're talking about, you know, like I said, we're connected genetically and spiritually to the ancient. You know what I'm saying? But when we're talking about our cultural identity as foundational Black Americans, that's something that was forged here on this soil through the enslavement process that we went through and everything that came thereafter. You know what I'm saying? From the Middle Passage to the plantations to the Jim Crow laws, all of that. It brought about a new cultural identity that we are now calling foundational Black Americans. And so I just wanted to touch on that, because that's one thing that they try to stick on. Oh, y'all saying that y'all don't got no history prior to the enslavement. So basically the white man gave y'all identity. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll land with that right there.
Yeah. The pushback. I laugh at the pushback. And I mean, I really appreciate sincere Brother Divine, Sister Brooke, because they laid out things that I don't have to repeat. But the pushback is, but to piggyback off what Brother Sincere said, they're selling something. The trips, the books, the dashikis, the all of that. These are people's identity. They have invested thousands of dollars and decades into this identity. they can't be honest with themselves and just give it up because Dr. So-and-so said. Dr. This one says this, Dr. Umar, the Prince of Pan-African, says that, and they hold on to them identities. But as I stated earlier, I've learned that my family were from the Cherokee Nations, but not did I only get that orally from the family history. I went to the Schomburg Research and Culture Center. Let's take my great-grandmother, Anna Lewis, for example. She was born in Halifax County, Virginia in 1910, right? Halifax County, Virginia. Then I learned there was a man named Dr. Walter Plecker who committed what was called paper genocide. And anybody who was non-black, no, not non-black, anybody who was non-white was labeled as colored. It went from Native American, speaking of my great-grandmother particularly, her birth certificate says she's Native American. That's her birth certificate of 1910, my grandmother's mother, my mother's grandmother. Her birth certificate says Native American. In 1924, Walter Plecker decided he was going to take the census and turn all mulattoes and Native Americans into colored or Negro. My great-grandmother was 14 years old, so when I find her census records, she's labeled as Negro, but her birth certificate says she's a Native American. My grandmother, who's still alive, who I'm actually going to see this weekend, has always said, who said I'm African? Who said I'm African? Her blood, her family, her bloodline, this lineage is tied to this soil. Now, on my mother's father's side, I traced the history to the first African during the Great Mayafa, which the Pan-Africans love to call the Mayafa, the Great Suffering, the transatlantic slave trade. He landed on the Drayton plantations in Charleston, South Carolina. So when we talk about, when we talk about what we've been through as a people, our story is not linear. Our story is not one-sided. So people will see the light skin and say, oh, a white man must have. But my great-grandmother was light-skinned. Now, I don't know who, I know her grandmother. Her grandmother name was Lavinia Hill. See, I know my family's history. How many of these people coming over here know who their great-grandmother is, let alone their great-grandmother's grandmother? They can't do that. We've been here so long, we go back too far to even say when we came here. But again, not to be the dead horse, these people have steeped their identity in this African-centered movement, and it's hard for them to divorce it. It's hard to pivot because they spend too much. Shit, I got tons of dashikis. I got tens of thousands of dollars worth of books from Dr. Ben, Ivan Van Sertima, Baba Baruti, you name them, I got the books. Dr. Amos Wilson, I done read them all. But what they went through was their life's experience. And I always say, us here in America, Black folks, each of us, the people in the chat, people on the panel, every day we're making our own history. We don't have to be locked in and beholden to someone else's story when we're literally writing our own. This Black American Renaissance movement is a historic event that's happening right now in real time. And we need to value that, because as much as I love Dr. Clark, as much as I love Dr. Khaled and Malcolm X, they haven't lived my life. My life has value. My story has value. What my grandmothers and my grandfather has taught me has value. And I won't divorce that to fit in with a group that's just, they lost themselves. I'm going to pass the mic to Sister Keisha, but I want to say this real quick. As we was discussing behind the scenes, Brother Knowledge Born, a lot of what you and I know is from us studying in the 90s. But what we studied in the 90s was what people were learning in the 50s and 60s. And as Sister Keisha said, we in 2026, that's antiquated information. New things have happened. These people haven't prepared us for COVID. They haven't prepared us for the crack epidemic. They hadn't prepared us for the influx of weapons that was dumped in our community and indoctrinated us with fratricide. So those of us on this panel in the chat, have to unravel all of that. That was done after the quote unquote master teachers did they works and wrote their books. So with that, I'm saying I'm not going to divorce my identity for somebody cosplaying me, because I've been to Africa 4 times, been to Ethiopia, been to Ghana 4 times, right? Those people are trying to be us. And while we over here, we got Pan-Africans looking like Prince Hakeem and Simi in Coming to America. You see how they come here dressed all crazy, all they New York Knicks stuff on? That's how Pan-Africans look wearing this hodgepodge of dashikis and unks and jinyames and all these Akan symbols. You look like you cosplaying a group that's cosplaying you. Get honest with yourself and stand on your square. Sister Keisha, take the mic. My bad.
Sister Keisha, if you don't mind, real quick, I just want to throw something in there.
Sure, brother. Go ahead.
Off of what he said, because we just had the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson as well too, and he was a card-carrying member of the Cherokee Nation as well. You know what I'm saying? And he's also the same person that helped to popularize the term African American, which, you know, I'm not bringing this up to disrespect the man or anything like that. May he rest in peace. I'm just saying this is the time that we in while we're having this conversation. This is the energy that's in the air, and I just wanted to throw that out there.
May he take African American with him to the grave. Amen.
I want to say that. So I'm gonna say this real quick and give you the mic. And that's my point, brother Sincere. In the movement, there's always a contradiction that never gets addressed. Go ahead, sis.
Man, this is so not fair that I get to go behind everybody.
We know you about to blow it up. We waiting. Come on.
I'm just putting that out there.
That smile said everything. Strap up.
You know, I'm putting my age out there. I'll be 56 years old this year. So I've seen a lot. And I know for certain that we are the most recognized, appreciated, and hated ethnic group on the planet. Now, more that, the greatest and the most hated ethnic group on the planet, we are also the only ethnic group that everybody leans on for their survival. Everybody. On top of that, when you begin to stand up and straighten your back and shake these things off, it becomes problematic. Because as Sister Brooks said before, they are so used to leaning on our lineage and legacy, they don't know how to stand on their own. Even in Pan-Africanism, we here on this soil have held the brunt of it, have popularized it. Your greatest scholars came here to be the best that they can be. Those that you look to from that era, they came here. Whether you're looking at Hubert Harris, who was a supreme intellectual, as far as I'm concerned, he came here. Garvey came here. But the thing I want people to take a little bit of understanding with, when Garvey came here, when he first came here, you know, people got different reasons why they like Garvey. Read what he said when he first came to the United States. He said, I came here to seek help for my Universal Negro Improvement Association of Jamaica. He said, not for everybody else, for Jamaica. All right? And it's in the book, The Greatest Writings and Speeches of Garvey, pages 14 to 16 to be exact. But he said, when he came here, he was in awe of us. He came here to meet Booker T. He idolized Booker T. And he wanted to model his UNIA of Jamaica after the Tuskegee movement. But when he got here, Garvey was already gone. So he couldn't sit and learn from him as much as he wanted to. But his words, not mine, he said the American Negro is the pig of all Negroes. He is the greatest of all scattered Ethiopia. He said when I came and he traveled to Chicago, Boston, California, New York. And he said wherever he went, he saw men and women of business, of prosperity, of greatness, men and women of lecture. In fact, John E. Bruce, who a lot of people don't talk about, but they should, he was an intellectual powerhouse. When you talk about the Schomburg Library, Arthur Schomburg was a student and partner of John E. Bruce. That's how great he was. When John E. Bruce passed away, Garvey spoke at his funeral. All right? Now, again, Garvey said, he was saying in this speech to the Caribbean, he said, when he got here, he saw the greatness of Booker T. He learned about Frederick Douglass. And he asked the Caribbean, he said, you have had 78 years of emancipation. Where is your Booker T? Where is your Fred Douglass? And again, we're in February 18th, 2026. You still have yet to produce them. So everybody leans on our legacy, and they are upset that right now you can't lean on us no more. We are getting our tribe in order. We are getting our business in order. We suggest to you, instead of being upset, get your tribe in order. Get your business in order. So if you want to unify with us, you can't unify with us fractured. You can't unify with us while you lean on us, because we got to fight our own fight. When you look at different countries around the world, and I don't like to use the word melanated because everybody's melanated. White people have melanin. The only people who don't have melanin is albinos, okay? So when you look at darker people throughout the diaspora, and some of them have had great movements, great wars, or battles, I should say, that they won. We on this soil continuously fight our open enemy, but on top of that, we fight for you. For example, when I was in college in the late 80s, early 90s, it was the Black Student Union here that put pressure on businesses to divest from South Africa. Without that pressure, Mandela wouldn't have been free. That's just a fact. So we took over, actually here in New York, we took over the college campuses, locked the staff, teachers, and everybody off the college campuses. We put pressure. In New York, you had a woman who was essayed by one of the most powerful men on the planet, former head of the IMF, Dominique Strauss-Kahn. This man was on his way back to France after he brutally essayed this woman. You know who stopped him? The FBAs, the Black Americans, Black American organizations stopped it. We're the ones who garnered signatures to turn over to District Attorney Cy Vance so that this man wouldn't flee. But ask me, where are the Senegalese for us? Where are the South Africans for us? When Garvey came here, he was openly received by us, right? A woman by the name of Maud Minty Lena Gordon, who was a member of the UNIA, brought with her 300,000 members, okay? But nobody talks about that. It was us who did the hard work, and it's still us to this very day. A lot of people who come from abroad, you're able to, and I don't care if you're dark brown, light brown, Asian, Caucasian, whatever, you are allowed to be here because of the work that those who came before us did in both civil rights movements, okay? There was a man, one of the first Black senators out of Nashville, Tennessee, by the name of Samson Keeble. And Samson Keeble was on the Committee for Immigration. He worked with Booker T to make sure that dark brown folks can come over here on these shores so that they can balance what was coming in from the European. No matter if you're European, Asian, dark brown, or light brown, immigration has always been a problem for us. In fact, it was put in place to stop us. You don't believe me? Go to your historical archives where you live. The information is there. It's there. Sister Brooke, Brother Divine, we just did a trip, I think last month or a month before, to the New York Historical Society to look what was there before us. You have 4 men before 1776 appeal for their freedom. Their dictum, their argument for freedom, some of the wording is used in the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson paid close attention to this case. Okay? That information is there. These two can confirm what I'm saying. So again, a lot of people move with outdated information, become cultists, some of them, and have been leaning on us for far too long. But it's a new day. We're tired. Our back is bent, and we're straightening up. So you get your tribe in order. We working over here.
My sister from another mister.
That's it. Oh man, y'all prompted me to say something. I wasn't gonna say nothing, but y'all prompted me to say a little something about all of this that's going on. They couldn't warn you about a crack epidemic or a crack epidemic because they was on crack. They was on heroin. They were chasing men. Many of those scholars, they were chasing men. You understand what I'm saying? They can't tell you about a black family because they ain't want no black family. They was chasing white women. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a lot of these folks that was out here purporting to push this in front of you, they was wearing dresses. They was running around with white women. They was taking it up their backside, and they was on drugs. So if we really start looking at some of these people that's cultural icons in one space, they known from these books and all this other stuff, they was limp-wristed, backstabbing, stealing, and lying. So if you catch them stealing, lying, limp-wristed, indifferent about, black family because they ain't want none. Dr. Bobby E. Wright, God bless him, said that class, it went from a race struggle to a class struggle to a ass struggle because many of those people that was with them with these uniforms on and these animals on their chest and all this other stuff, they had different plans. They had different plans. So if we go back and listen to X Power that we left out, y'all don't want to know what that meant. But y'all seen what it meant when the Grey Panthers showed up and the Brown Berets showed up. X Power. So those we left out. You understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people whose your hearts would be broken if you really understood who these people were and are, that folks are still championing in today and quoting their books and all of that. Like, you don't know who they was laying with. You understand what I'm saying? Some of these big Pan-African champions, and I'm a staunch Pan-African, some of these Pan-African champions that ain't, they'll show you a family, but they ain't with that family. For real. In spirit and in truth. So don't get this twisted. I ain't never cut a blind eye to nothing. You understand? Shout out to my brother Cecile, the guy gave me the anthem, Revenge of the Yakata. That's why I started. This the Revenge of the Yakata. So when we got something to say about what's going on, don't act like you don't know what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? So I support my family. I support my brothers and sisters. I support this movement. And like I said before we started, this is necessary for our black future. You understand what I'm saying? So the black future we want to have design, not none of this BS mixed up, fixed up, dressed up stuff that they got going on, that they pushing through the media, that they pushing through the food, that they pushing through vaccination, that they pushing through disinformation, misinformation. You know, just K5 said get your house in order. I say burn your damn house down. You understand what I'm saying? Burn that shit to the ground. Burn that shit to the ground. That's it for me. So y'all vision and work for our Black future. I think we can end with that. You know what I'm saying? I think we can end with that. I want to get Sincere some love and play his track if I could real quick. Y'all got a few minutes to listen to this track. Some of y'all heard it already. You understand what I'm saying? Because I need the FBA mixtape because some of this stuff I heard, I said, hey, yo, hold up, man. Hey, y'all, I need this right here. I need this right here. So, you know, shout out to Sincere Love Guy, his audience, and his family, Mama Love, and everybody. You understand what I'm saying? On the front lines against this this non-FBA assault that's happening.
It's only right, man. Go ahead and spin that.
Against them, my fucking AK is gonna go akata. That's when my shit gonna ring out, nigga. You gotta chill, man. Good down,
man. Yeah. Revenge of the Master Elements. Y'all. Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latinx, Arabs, native tribes, Haitians. All these motherfuckers been secretly hating. This for the tether class, not for the riders in the diaspora. No disrespect to you, but we gotta provide some order. I know they told you stay away from the Akata, but mama should've warned you not to play with the Akata. We them Yankee boys, and I'ma say that shit frankly, boy. My family built this fucking country, you should thank me, boy. This block miento tu mejora, la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa. All that colorism in these racial caste systems. All across Asia, the darkest ones be the victims. India, they untouchable, they mean that shit literal. But here on US soil, we unfuckwittable. Exceptional people, respect to the Negro. Before you get your green card, we double checking your ego. That bulletproof glass in Arab stores, stop buying them cigarellos, we take that as war. They like to call us Abids and Jareds, but East Africa is in shambles, the hypocrisy's weird. Your economy's weird, bankrupt, so you gotta flee here. We embrace you with open arms, now it's obviously clear we unappreciated. All that sucker shit is for leeches, ain't it? I think it's time that we get reacquainted. Foundational Black Americans, we the ones that be moving culture. So sit your ass in the goofy corner. When we talking about reparations, it ain't up for debate. It's a blood debt owed to descendants for the enslavement. But you can call us freedmen for legislation, just like y'all compensated Asians with no hesitation. But permanent underclass is our designation. We can't accept replacement in the country we created. Which brings me to all these neo-Nazi Ukrainians. We are not them docile Africans y'all be playing with. Nah, these niggas built different. They wonder how we still kicking after centuries of being in the fields picking cotton and indigo. Shout out to the Seminoles and Gullah Geechees. Hey, what that reparations hitting for? And if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck, so be comfortable, nigga. And if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck, so be comfortable, nigga. Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latinx, Arabs, native tribes, Haitians. All these motherfuckers been secretly hating.
We're not asking for anything, we're not asking for anything, but all we want is what's ours. You know, this revolution is built on so many irons, really.
Straight fire.
That's for the tether class, not for the riders in the diaspora. No disrespect to you, but we gotta provide some order.
Brother Sincere, if you can, put your email in the private chat, and I'll send you those 3 pages of Garvey.
Yes, indeed.
Now, this last one, before I get to everybody, I seen an endorsement. When I seen this endorsement, I said, "Oh, this can't be whack." You understand what I'm saying?
No.
I seen this endorsement. I was like, "This can't be whack right here." So, hey, time is up. You know what I'm saying? Take your raggedy ass home. Let's go. This joint right here.
Y'all don't hear us. Pull up a seat and motherfucking listen. Pull up a seat and motherfucking listen.
Pack your bag, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our grind, we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
You landed on the tarmac, fresh off the boat. Talking about y'all build nothing, man, you choking on the note. My ancestors the reason that this country even breathes. Picked the cotton, built the White House, planted the seed. Jim Crow laws, redlined the map, we was the target. You think that struggle's a costume, man, you can't mark it. We fought the wars, we bled the blood, we died for our future's chance. And you come here and give our legacy a side eye while throwing shade on the guard. While you benefit from doors we kick down with our last breath. Now you spit on the architects who stare down death. Disrespectful, that's disrespectful, ungrateful. A slap in the face, the only people who gave a fuck. So let me show your ungrateful ass to the right place. Ho, ho.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
Talking crazy on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
This our ground and we outside on it. While y'all fools on the outside looking, y'all show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
Y'all don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, take your disrespect and just fly on.
Passport, the visa, the privilege to be here. Cause my grandma did march for y'all, so disappear from our land. You cosplaying our pain. Think it's a trend you can borrow, but you ain't inherit the ghosts of our sorrow. We the foundation, the rock, the soil, and the root. You not no branch on our tree, and unproductive people always cosplaying me.
Talking about we ain't do nothing, you lost your mind. We built this from nothing, time after time.
From the beginning to now, we've been the backbone and muscle. Why you look down on the struggle and cause a whole tussle? The energy's foul with disgust and it's whack.
So let's make it clear, there's no turning back.
This land is paid for in full.
In blood, sweat, and tears, and dreams deferred.
You don't get to come into a house we built from the dirt and telling Black America y'all ain't worth nothing. That's a violation. Facts.
Pack your bags, time to go home.
It's our soil on our soil where our blood and bones grown.
Show respect, this our ground, y'all just tenants on a lease.
Or get the step.
Show no respect to Black America, so leave.
Don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your disrespect and just fly on.
Don't get it, so it's time to go home.
Get the hell up out of America, taking your disrespect and just fly on.
Yeah, fly little birdies.
Fly on back to where you came from.
This ain't for you, this soil is sacred.
We said what we said,
It's time
for y'all to go home. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. So fly a little birdies fly. Fly far, far away from here. Bye-bye, little birds.
Yeah, shout out to Sister Ish, Brother Coolwater for doing that, and Cecilia Loveguard, man.
Appreciate it. Who was that? Who did that one?
Ishmael and Coolwater.
Okay.
Yeah, they on TikTok.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Telling you, propaganda is out there. That's real. So I want to thank y'all I want to thank our audiences. Everybody that pulled up, they circled the wagons. I think they thought this was going to be like a fight. They had you know what I mean? They had the machetes out. And they was like, he cool. All right. So we just go. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? But this is a safe zone. Man. Do Not Radio has always been a safe zone for our people, indiscriminate to what the ideologies was and all that. I just wasn't with none of that, rainbow coalition shit. But everything else, if it was viable for black people, somebody black could use it. You understand what I'm saying? So this definitely ain't no different. But this moves to the front of the line. This is our greatest time in history here to self-define and self-defend what's in the best interest of our people going forward. And I'm glad the minds that are assembled are righteous and clear in regards to what this looks like moving forward as far as our agenda and our sojourn here. You know what I mean? I give back our recompense and our restoration. You know what I'm saying? So the minds assembled that y'all see here are in the trenches making that work. They need y'all help. They need y'all love. They need y'all support. You know what I'm saying? Like it's for us. You understand what I'm saying? For us, and we continuing to make it happen. So, final remarks, whatever vision you can share in regards to leave the listening audience with, as what this looks like forward from you, from your perspective, and when people can find you and get a hold of you and have support. Let's start with Sister.
Yes, indeed.
What else? Sincere? Go ahead, Sincere.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, man. First and foremost, knowledge born, man. Appreciate you having me as always. You know, I'm serious. I'm humbled that you considered to have me included on this panel right here. Some very powerful voices that have spoken. You know what I mean? And shout out to everybody in the chat who joined us today. I appreciate the love on the Revenge of the Akata record as well. Y'all make sure y'all go stream that, man. Revenge of the Akata, that's available on all streaming platforms. And so I want to close out just by touching on the term foundational Black American, why it's powerful and why it's important. The term foundational Black American, it does a few things. It asserts our unique lineage, and it does away with the monolithic Black identity, the flat Black identity. And so therefore it reclaims our ancestry that they try to erase, and it roots us in a specific place and time. And the term foundational, the word foundational, which is really the word that got everybody's panties in a bunch. You know what I'm saying? Because if we just said we were Black Americans, that was they had no problem. We're African American, it was no problem. Even though the African American term was said to be a marker that was specific to us, it wasn't a problem because those that know, they knew that it wasn't going to work that way. You know what I'm saying? They knew that was something that they could latch themselves onto. And so the term foundational is what has everybody all messed up right now, because that term it flips the racial hierarchy, you know what I'm saying, where we're supposed to be at the bottom, and so sure, we still at the bottom in a lot of ways, but now it's in a way that it shows that we are the bedrock that props up the entire structure. That term foundational, that's what that says, that we are the ones that make this whole thing stand up. And so us recognizing ourselves as being foundational, it's like a declaration of self-accountability, and it gives us the ability to really tell our true origin story. It empowers us politically. You know what I'm saying? We're no longer invisible. We have a very defined stake in policy and reform that is necessary, and the debt that is owed in the form of reparations, cash payments, by the way. And it highlights our resilience. You know what I'm saying? when we start to put up the lines of demarcation, and we start to put the points on the board of you know what we've accomplished over the centuries, you know what I'm saying? It really highlights that we are exceptional people. You know what I'm saying? And so it also creates a roadmap for intergenerational wealth and ensuring that our children are able to inherit a legacy and not a struggle. You know what I'm saying? And so the I hate when I say the delineation. I always get tongue tied. But delineation is a direct push against, you know, the whitewashing of our history and our identity. You know what I'm saying? It shows that we refuse to be diluted. And it's also an educational tool. Me and my sister Nicety Girl and my sister Crown 808, we have children's books where, you know, we are teaching the children about our unique history and all of that, based on my son, Seven of Super Hey Rules, the name of the books. Y'all can go check that out. Those are available on Amazon as well. And it's just a demand for respect. You know what I'm saying? We're not just going to be a footnote in history. We're actually the cornerstone, the foundation. You know what I'm saying? And so, with all that being said, us claiming our unique identity, family, is not an attack, because that's another lie. You know, we talked about earlier about, you know, the so-called misinformation and the lies that they tell. It's not an attack on anyone. It's not anti anyone. I echo the sentiments of my sister when she said earlier that, you know, we getting our shit together over here, and we suggest y'all do the same for yourselves. You know what I'm saying? And then we can revisit the conversation about unity then, when we're able to come to the table with strength. You know what I'm saying? But coming to the table all fractured and scattered and all of that, that's, you know, that's useless. It's unproductive, and it doesn't make any sense. And so I'll close out with that. Y'all can follow me. I'm at Sincere Love the God on all social media platforms. Me and my sister Nicety Girl, we co-host Sincere Love the Godcast here on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you just type in my name on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. We usually go live on Sundays with Sincere Love the Godcast. So y'all make sure y'all check us out for that. Appreciate you. Peace.
Uncle Chad, let me get you, because I know we passed the witching hour. Thank you for coming.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, maybe got it back.
You know, I'm an old man. All right. Yeah. So what's the question again? What does it look like? What does the future look like?
Right. And then where people can find you, you know what I mean? Whatever your closing remarks are, all that.
No doubt. Well, I definitely want to shout out the pen. You Sincere to Love God is dope meeting you tonight. Everybody else I'm a little more familiar with, especially my sister K Fighter. We done soldiered in the streets with my brother Knowledge Born.
Likewise,
rocking with my sister Brooke, my brother Divine for a minute. So I know we're going to do some work in the future. And shout out to the panel. You know what I'm saying? I know my brother Knowledge Born, just like us, have a very sophisticated audience. Those who are tapped in and want to deal with the real. This is YouTube. You know, this is the digital space where a lot of people really don't deal with reality. They get to live out their fantasies in this space. From the comforts of their living room and bedroom, or even on the toilet, they can sit on the phone and just get engaged. Strange times we in, right? But what the future look like, as long as we stand in truth and we talk about knowledge itself, but we have to ask the critical question, well, who are you? You are who your parents are. You are who their parents are. Embrace that. Stand on that. Be proud of that. See, in a lot of these movements, we've been taught to hate ourselves. We talk about self-love, but we've been taught to hate ourselves. Oh, you American? No, I ain't American. I'm a stolen African. I don't know where my family's history's been erased. The white man done did this. Nah, we not subscribing to the victimhood mentality. I'm a victor, not a victim. And I suggest everybody else do the same, because as long as we operate in the victim mentality, we pass those bad behaviors on to our children. And our children don't know how to be victorious because we haven't showed them. So with this FBA Renaissance movement, here's our chance to reclaim what our grandparents have always told us we are. We are great people. We are divine by design. We are born on purpose and with a purpose. And those of us on this panel and in the chat, we're living in that purpose and walking in that purpose. And those who are not with us are jealous of us because they don't have the bravery. They don't have the gumption to stand up. See, one thing about being FBA, our cultural lineage is fighting. They say we don't have a culture. Yes, we do. Ask Harriet Tubman. Ask Nat Turner. Ask Malcolm X. We are natural born. Shit. Ask Jack Johnson. Ask Mike Tyson. We like to fight. We don't mind tangling. So I don't think you want to be on the opposite side of these hands, these proverbial hands, these intellectual hands. So let's stand tall as victors and start celebrating our accomplishments. Looking across the water and across the pond, we have to instill pride in our children. Give them something to be proud of the work that we're doing, the work that you're doing in the chat, just by acknowledging who your grandparents are. So your children could be proud of their family legacy and they won't stray from the things that you teach them. That's what the future looks like. Many of our scholars in the past have talked about creating a greater future. The scholars of today are living in the past time paradise. We have to erase that. We have to throw that shit in the trash. It don't work for us. All right? So what does the future look like? The future look like us winning, claiming our proper place in this land that we owned before the Europeans got here. The land that we owned before they stole it and parceled it off to other people. Oh man, we gonna do some fly stuff because we just getting warmed up as FBA. But the future looks like winning, like we've always done. This is Black History Month. Thank you, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. I see folks trying to hijack that, trying to give it to people in the Caribbean, people on the continent. Nah, B. Nah, we did that here. That was created here by FBA, highlighting FBA accomplishments that influenced the world. That's what it looks like for us in the future. So if you want to follow me, catch me every Thursday, 8 p.m. on Thorough Black Talk Worldview with my sister Kay Fighter, talking some more of this FBA stuff. Or you can catch me on Sundays at 2 p.m. with my partner in crime, my brother C Gutter, the real C Gutter, 2 p.m. on the OG Wisdom Podcast. All right? And with that, I want y'all to stay up, stay blessed, stay true. Hopefully you inspired by something you heard here tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. Brother Knowledge.
Hey, yo, y'all made me real homesick tonight. I just want to say that, you know what I'm saying? Because,
get your hat back.
I'm from New York also. You see, I got the Atlanta,
you know what I'm saying?
We can hear it. We can hear it. We still hear it a little bit in your voice.
Yo, the energy is just different. You know what I'm saying? The energy is just different. I've been down here for a minute, so I appreciate y'all energy tonight, man. I got to get back home, so.
No doubt.
Brother Divine, to you, President. No doubt. And definitely, you know what I'm saying, you once always, whenever I say that, because you can't stay away long enough to lose your New Yorkness. Don't let it go. Hold on, bro. Hold on. So yeah, I just wanted to bring the conversation full circle. I love being on panels like this with like minds, not because of the echo chamber, because that we are one on call, and this is what they're really mad about. Because we are so on call, there's so much stuff that the people before you say that you don't have to say because they said it already, right? So you kind of, when it comes down to these kind of last minute, your last thoughts, you're like, dang, I want to say that, I want to say this. But it's such a beautiful thing where people have said some of the things you want to say, so you can go in a different direction. So I want to go into the direction of more along the lines of what this is not. And to highlight that, the brother Sincere brought up Jesse Jackson, and Sister Keisha, set that stage on fire. But I want to put out some of the flames to kind of put this little extra context on it, and not let the family lose sight of the fact that Jesse Jackson died 25 years to the same day that Dr. Khalid Muhammad died. And Dr. Khalid Muhammad is on record calling out the soft shoeing and buck dancing that Jesse Jackson was doing. And I think that is emblematic of what we're seeing right now in this moment, because you asked the question, which bypassed me, about the pushback that we're getting from our very own. And so what I want to do is kind of put that in context to say, the same way Dr. Khalid Muhammad had to speak truth to power against a Jesse Jackson that was elevated and propped up by left-wing white supremacy. What you're seeing that most of the pushback that we're getting from our fellow foundational Black Americans is that same fight for the heart of foundational Black Americans that happens between the propped up gatekeeper class and the foundational Black American grassroots. And so when you see us going at a NARC and Cobra, Urban League, NAACP, NAN, that's the same fight that Dr. Khalid Muhammad was taking to Jesse Jackson. It's the grassroots not allowing the gatekeeper mouthpieces to control a narrative and explain away what's really happening on the grassroots level. And now we're in a perfect position because of the new Black media and all that we're doing, and everyone having an equal voice, and all the places where you can find each and every one of us. We're doing a damn good job of making that gatekeeper class obsolete. But to build on that point, we all know that in the 1980s, Jesse Jackson was the one. Now, he did not create the term, because that's another lie that the tethers and the raccoons, I'll say that since we're on Twitter, the raccoons kind of say when we try to pretend that African-American didn't exist before Jesse Jackson. We do know that. But Jesse Jackson, alongside left-wing white supremacy, pushed that into the lexicon to become our ethnic designation, to become the term by which we are known. All while being a card-carrying Cherokee, we know that. But here's something that most people don't know that brings this conversation full circle. That on his presidential campaign, and as a executive director of his Rainbow Push Coalition, a gentleman by the name of Ron Daniels worked alongside Jesse Jackson. And so we understand now where politics is not done in a vacuum, and we have now Dr. Ron Daniels of the Pan-African Movement, IBW 21 to be exact, Narcan and Cobra, says on record that today's quote-unquote Black immigrant is tomorrow's African-American. We understand that these things did not happen in a vacuum, and that they were happening long before we were aware of what's taking place now. To where Dr. Ron Daniels is now a gatekeeper on the reparations conversation here in New York, still pushing that race-based moniker of African-American. And so African-American, for those that don't know, in 1997, from 1997 as of today, is defined as anyone with origins in the Black racial groups of Africa. So that means continental Africans are African-American, Afro-Caribbeans are African-American, Afro-Latinos are African-American, Afro-Asians are African-American, foundational Black Americans are African-American, and all other Afro groups that find their way to the United States of America are African-American. So African-American is not a lineage. It's not a cultural group. It's not an ethnic group. It is a racial category for all Afro groups that have origins in the Black racial groups of Africa and find their way to the United States of America. You cannot do anything legislatively with that. You cannot define an ethnic group with that, because it is a conglomeration of multiple ethnic groups. So it can never mean just one. And so for all those that say, well, we don't need to delineate, and why are you doing division? Without delineation, foundational Black Americans do not have an ethnic group with which to receive not just reparations, but any legislation set aside that we need and deserve after building the country. That's why it's necessary. The hatred that we're getting from the diaspora isn't because ours is steeped in hatred. It's because they no longer go, they delineated from us based on hatred. And it's a bunch of projection, because we have a Marcus Garvey who came in 1920 that was talking shit about foundational Black Americans then. saying we were lazy slumberers that did not deserve any piece of the country that white Americans built. And he was saying these things to his friend Ernest Cox, who was in the KKK. And so the Tethers have a long history of coming here, aligning with white supremacy, denigrating foundational Black Americans, then trying to pose as our leader, and then denigrate us when we push back. And we're just saying no more. And for the Afro-Latinos, no mas. And whatever other language you need to hear it in, to understand us very clearly, that those days are dead and gone. And so it is out of a necessity that has nothing to do with you. It only becomes about you when you center yourself, because you know that once we do this, you got to stand on your own too. Or as we've heard in this space more commonly said, you got to hold your own nuts. And as our sister Keisha has eloquently said, they're so used to leaning that they don't know how to fight for themselves. And so that's what we're really seeing. There's a picture on, and she's going to say what you can find her at, but Sister Brooke, on the intro to her show, there's an image of a table that is on the backs of Black people. And at that table, it shows a bunch of white people. And it comes from that old adage of, if we just stood up, we can knock the table and the game over that is being played on our backs. Here's what this delineation movement showed me and many others. See, because before we kicked it totally off of our backs, the delineation movement allowed me to get a peek at the table before we pushed it off. And what I saw was not just white folks, but the many Afro groups that Pan-Africanism taught us was our allies. They were sitting at that table too. And so all of these other groups play that game that rests on our back. And so when you look around and it looks like it's foundational Black Americans versus everybody, that's because it is. Everybody benefits from us being the permanent underclass. In fact, that's the American way. And we're just stepping in and saying, you know what? You know the American way. And what they told you, allow me to reintroduce myself and show you what the foundational Black American way looks like. And that's what we're showing everybody now. So you can find me on TikTok at Black American Proverb. You can find me on Twitter at the handle for the U.S. Freedmen Project. That is U.S. Freedmen PRJ. And you can also find us at the USFreedmenProject.org. If this touched you in any way, or you feel like you need to come into the fight and you're looking for a home to do it in, the U.S. Freedmen Project can be just that. There's a join button. You can press it, put your information in, give us some information about what you think where you will be best suited, and we will get back to you and bring you into the fold, and we can work this thing like family. And you can email us also at admin@usfreedmenproject.org. And I'll land there. Thank you for this time in this space, Brother Knowledge. And I'm definitely looking forward to us creating some ebooks together, because I ain't going to forget that you put that out there like that. And I'm going to take advantage of it if I can.
Can everybody, can y'all put y'all ats in the private chat for me?
Word up. Hey, Brother Divine, hold me to it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm here to be a proper propagandist for our people. And like I said, I stand behind this designation, delineation, whatever word, D word, whatever word y'all want to call it. You understand what I'm saying? In regards to our future. So y'all stories need to be told in the way that it should be. You see what I'm saying? I need our children not thinking that I don't want them pretending like they got to put a dress on or a wig or any of that. I don't want them putting on anything that don't suit them. That's not for them. You understand what I'm saying? At the same time, you know what I mean? So it's a way forward. So however I can help, I'm all in. Sister Brooke.
I just want to say, I definitely will. I thank you for that. And I don't want to leave without saying this. We were freedmen then. We're freedmen still. And there's nothing like a freedman's will.
No doubt.
Okay. Whew, wow. I didn't know what I was gonna say, but listening to the fam inspired me with a few things to say. I want to start by addressing just one thing that's happening right now. There is a Jamaican cartoonist or Jamaican writer who decided to represent the Black American family by creating Do-Rag Man. And this is what we mean when we say, you don't have the license to speak for us. This is a woman who has admitted that she likes to date out of her race. And I'm going to be as nice as I can, right? Because there's better ways that I can say it, but I'm going to try to find some nice ways to say it. Who decided that she wanted to date out of her race. She has said disparaging things about Black American people. And this cartoon is an extension of that. And people are questioning, why are we pointing out where she's from and what she's doing? And why are we just getting on board, right? And the problem is that we can't have people who have hatred for us allowing themselves to be used by white supremacy to speak for us, to represent us in the media, because this is what is happening. This is what is going on, because there are certain things that foundational Black Americans will not allow, will not do. Right. And this is a continuation of some other things that have happened, especially in art, media, and entertainment. I want to remind people that not too long ago, there was a misshapen, huge, 40-foot Black woman in Times Square that they wanted to represent us. We had a problem with that. She was not foundational Black American. Then I want to talk a few years before that, we had a woman, an African artist, creating art with topless art, saying that it represents foundational Black American women, when that is not our culture. We do not, our ancestors, our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts, they do not, that's hussy behavior. They do not sanction that. They're going to talk about you like a dog with two tails until you put some clothes on. So this is an ongoing problem that we're having. So if there's a woman who doesn't even want to date Black men, who wants to now create a Black man for children to look up to, I have a problem with that. And so this is also part of the reason why we delineate, because we need to know who's putting out these images. And I, as President Divine referenced when I was on Tariq's show last night, I also brought up that the first step in Fetch It, the first Black person to put on blackface and make fun of Black people in this country was a Caribbean, unfortunately. Because they're not tied to these images. They're not tied to these things, or their tie is not the same as our tie. Either you're not tied to it like we are, or the images don't bother you like they bother us, because it also makes me think of the fact that Jamaicans call their children picnics. And over here, that's a slur. You call my child a picnic, I'm going to backhand you to next week. But that's something that is commonplace. The first time I heard somebody call their child a picnic, I had to pick my jaw up off the ground. I said, wait, what? You willingly calling your children this? When I saw the mammy image being praised in other countries, when we will knock a mammy down, we will break it, crack it, talk about it. But that's something that is, I don't even know what the word is, that is celebrated. We don't do that here. And if you want to do that where you're from, that is your choice. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'll tell you what you should do, but I'm not telling you what you can and cannot do. That's your home. You want to have a big fat ass mammy? standing at the thing, welcoming everybody, that's on you. You want to call your child a racial slur, call them a picnic, that's on you. You want to go to your homeland and denigrate the men over there, that's on you. But what you won't do is do it over here. And this is why we must delineate, because we need to know, why would these people do these certain things? And like Brother Taz said earlier, play with us if you want to. Because we're not the group of people who decided, you know what? Life here is too hard. Let me go over here where that group of people made life easier. Renounce my country. Get on my knees and pledge allegiance to another country. And then tell them people that what they doing ain't right. That's not what we do. We go head to head, toe to toe with our white supremacists. We live in a house with our white supremacists. We've been going, read about Frederick Douglass and how often he used to run away and beat up his master on a regular basis. This was not a 1 or 2 time thing. Him and this dude used to fight, tussle, wrestle together. So we've been doing this. Just because you don't know the history or you haven't learned our history here doesn't mean that we're not about fighting. We have learned from history. And because you have the same hue of melanin as us doesn't mean that we won't fight you too. Now, I would rather not. It would be great if we could kumbaya and hold hands. But play with me if you want to. I suggest you be our friends. I suggest you get on board with what we're doing. Because when we all move together, ask them people about the Montgomery bus boycott. When we all move together, we move like 100-mile-an-hour freight train. We knocking everything down. Ask them people at the Essence Festival how we move. You're $400,000 in the hole. Just last week, you was laughing and saying, oh, if y'all had power, you would own it. And now you own what? Debt. Because we said that's what you get. Because we said you get no wins over here. We will not allow Johnny-come-latelys to dictate to us how our life and our future will be in the country that we built. And I just want to shout out to our brother Melrose, who's in the chat. When it comes to foundational Black Americans / Freedmen, when we changed our name, we changed the game. We changed the game. And that is why I said what I said about Jesse Jackson. And that is the nicest that I can be. May he take the term African American that he popularized, like President Devine said, he did not create it, but that he popularized and shoved down our throats. May he take that term with him to the afterlife. May the ancestors deal with him. May his Cherokee ancestors deal with him accordingly. Amen. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. We will not let anyone. Right now, the Africans are trying very hard to intertwine their way into our DNA, intertwine their way into our story. One, you will not get paid for us twice. We're not stupid. We know what you did. You talk about what you did during your little tours. You talk about how you sold us. You talk about how you starved us for 3 months. You talk about how if they was pretty, you put an iron mask on their face, and that African heat. You talk about how heavy the chains are. You talk about how you drug them. You talk about how you did voodoo rituals on them so their very souls could not take revenge on you for what you did. And now you want to go before the United Nations and speak for us? I wish a mother would. You don't get to sell us twice. You already got paid. You don't get no reparations because you made a bad business deal and you got cowrie shells instead of gold, you idiots. Whose fault is that? That's on you. And you're already getting a US aid. How many billions of dollars in USA did you get? Now you want to come over here and take our birthright and intertwine yourself into our birthright over my dead body. Not on my watch. We will not. Then you want to sit there and invite us home when you got black women over there and you're killing them left and right. They'll come over there thinking that they bought land and then you trick them up off the land. But you want us to come home? Nigga, I am home. I've been here. My family been here. I can trace my lineage back to the 1700s. Nigga, I'm home. This ain't your home. You will not trick me off my land. You will not trick me off my birthright. I will not go to another country, renounce my land, my birthright, and my family, and bend the knee to another nation. Never. Not you, not a European nation, not an African nation, not a Caribbean nation. This is my nation. This is where my people's bones are buried. And I will stay here on this land and fight for my birthright. And it ain't over, like Professor Kaba says, it ain't over till we win. And I'm going to end with this because I almost forgot about the emails, child. I almost forgot. Send the emails. If you are an ally, if you want to help the U.S. Freedmen Project with what we're doing with our unconstitutional bills and our constitutionally sound bills, we are fighting for reparations and delineation in New York. And as y'all know, what happens in New York will spread across the country. It already started in California. You see what happened in California. We worked closely with the OGs in California. We are trying to mitigate some of those things here in New York, some of the things that they went through. So we playing offense and defense at the same time. So we got this unconstitutional reparations commission that Dr. Ron Daniels, that President Devine spoke of earlier, that worked with Jesse Jackson. He's on the commission talking big shit all the time. And I just be anyway. So we be playing defense. You may have seen some of my testimony from some of our testimonies, all of us here, all of our testimonies go viral from those reparations hearings. That is us playing defense, right? While we're doing that, we are playing offense by because President Devine and our champion Assemblywoman Nikki Lucas wrote a constitutionally sound reparations bill. We need sponsors and co-sponsors for that bill, right? Then at the same time, we playing offense by getting our delineation bill, again written by President Devine and our champion sponsor, Assemblywoman Nikki Lucas. They have written a delineation bill that is so tight that you can just copy and paste it into other states and other cities. Okay, same thing with our reparations bill, because we know that we have some of the longest let's see, immigrants with our hue, because I'm trying not to say melanated immigrants anymore after learning from Sister Keisha, okay? Immigrants with our hue than any other state, except maybe Florida, because, you know, we learning a lot that they was down there in Florida cutting sugar cane and listening to the radio and making reggae. So, our bill is very, very, very tight for those reasons. So we need sponsors and co-sponsors for our delineation bill. Now, the delineation bill is super important because we need that bill to pass this legislative session, because the MENA group and the AAPI have already gotten their delineation pushed through. Their bills have already pushed through. The AAPI are the Asians. They want to separate from each other. The MENA is the Muslims. They want to separate from being white, child, because of 9/11. So we need our bill to pass this legislative session. So it's time for you to put the foot to the gas, because once we get it past this legislative session, we can now, because as we see, they got their bill passed, but they haven't done the paperwork yet. So as we see, just having the bill passed is not enough. We then have to fight to actually get the change made. So if all three groups can come together and fight for the changes to actually be made on paper and in the computers, then we could work together on that issue and that issue alone. Okay. And so, and that will, that'll put a battery in Kathy Hochul's back, because she's a cheap witch and she don't like to spend no money. She would charge us for air if she could, but she can't. So we don't want her to say, oh, well, I just paid the money to do it for them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it again. So this will mitigate that argument. So that's why we really need you to send these emails. There are 5 total emails. Please send all 5. The link to the emails is bit. I've been putting it in the chat. bit.ly/BREUCK call to action. That's bit.ly/BREUCK call to action. And you can hit me up on my various social medias. Hit me in the DMs. I'll send you the link. No problem. If you need to have any questions or whatever. And just so send those emails. We ain't playing. Sorry it took so long.
You better drop that bomb.
I wonder, is he frozen?
Or I think our brother Knowledge Born is frozen.
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
He'll get it worked out.
Mm-hmm. All right, big sis. Come on now. Bring us on home.
Let me say it's been a pleasure to be invited on this panel. Again, great meeting you, Brother Sincere. Let's stay in touch via X. Shout out to Nicety Girls. I definitely follow y'all and watch y'all for a long time. Foundational Black American. It's not an organization. It's a lineage. Either you're born into it or you're not. Either you can trace your ancestry at least to the 1870 census or prior. If you can't, you aren't of the lineage. One thing is for certain, our ancestors, the 6 of us, including you in the chat, our ancestors have awakened us. Our direct lineage has awakened us. And there is no leader. The leader is the code. We are all on code. We come from different walks of life. We do different things, but the code is the leader. And that's why they can't stop it. We are making Black history in real time, as Brother Taz said. In real time, we are making Black history. There are 3 books that I would encourage you to read. And they are on audiobook in case you don't feel like reading. I try to make it simple for our people. Back of the Hiring Line, The Invisible Coup. And if you want to know more about the real Jesse Jackson, read Shakedown, okay? And that'll put it in clear perspective on who he was. Black Americans have left this country and moved to other countries. They are expats. But you can't find one who interject themselves into the politics of another nation, who advocate for tangibles for themselves in another nation. But we have to deal with that here. And no one seems to care. You have caucuses in the Congress, in your local government that have already delineated themselves. You have a Caribbean caucus. You have an Asian caucus. You have a Latino caucus. All of these caucuses advocate and attain tangibles for themselves, of which we cannot benefit from. But they say we are the problem. We are being divisive. That is not so. Some people complain about the arguments that they may see online. What you see from us is a response that goes back to the Clubhouse days. If you were around back then, you know that some of the things you hear on TikTok, on X today, are minor compared to what happened in the Clubhouse days, where you have people taking FBA photographs and holding mock slave auctions. You just had a Congolese woman who said she would strap a bomb to her chest and come around us and unalive us. Then you had a Caribbean woman follow that up with another threat. These are terroristic threats. Now, we may call you some names like tether. All Caribbeans, all Africans are not tethers, but all tethers are Caribbean and African. Either you're on code with us or you're not. And if you're not, that's fine. Stay over there. At least we'll know who our adversaries are in plain sight. I want us to remember that we too are not fleers. You see, I can walk to my great-grandmothers, both of them. I can walk to their grave sites right here in Brooklyn. As Brooke said, on one line I've traced to the 1700s, the other to the 1600s. The one ancestor that I did find that came from the continent of Africa, I have a copy of the bill of sale for his slavery. And so again, when you know your story, it hits different. It hits different. And as Brooke said, we knocking down all adversaries in our way. This is about lineage. This is about freedom. And it is about justice. And so, remember what I said here. The 6 of us are a powerhouse. 45 million of us are an atomic bomb. And that's what's happening around this country. So, I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care if you're an independent. I don't care if you're a bus driver, run a Fortune 500 company. I don't care if you're a physician. If you are of the lineage, you have to stand and fight for us. People often say that, I wish I was around during the 60s. I wish I was around for that. This is your 60s right now. We understand clearly that the system of white supremacy uses roadblocks. They are fighters 24/7 a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They never let up. So our fight is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As Brooke said, you can go on YouTube and put in New York Reparations Commission, and you will see our testimonies that we are there fighting for you. And so please send those emails. They are already pre-written. You don't have to figure out nothing to say. You can sit there and read it if you wish. You can read the unconstitutional bill and the sound bill that should pass. In fact, I showed it to some judges, and they said, finally, we are getting it right. Finally, the language is right. When the Japanese received reparations for their internment on this soil, only those who were harmed received reparations. Not all Japanese, but you didn't see other Japanese, whether they were in Japan, in Europe, or here, say, no, they shouldn't get it. The disdain for foundational Black American have gone on for far too long. We have heard these murmurings for quite some time. We have no culture. Well, if we have no culture, why are you trying to steal it? From hip hop to the foods we eat, to how we move, to the language. We are masters of language. Nobody creates language so rapidly and so forcefully every day, and everybody uses it. That's how gifted we are. With over 50,000 patents, no other ethnic group has matched our greatness. And so I understand why you may be upset, why you may be perturbed, because we call you some names. That is who we are. We've all been called names, you know, but you take that to your adulthood and you're still whining about it. That means you have no heart. You have no courage. Because if you can't deal with name calling, you can't fight against this beast, which makes me see even clearly or clearer why you fled in the first place, or why your parents fled, or your grandparents. Another great thing that we have that was previously mentioned, we are the only group who can trace our genealogy lineage via paperwork. Some of y'all don't even know who your grandparents were, who their parents were, who their parents' parents were. You don't know their names. You don't know their story. So you try to attach to something that makes you feel good. And the great Dr. Amos Wilson once said at a forum at UAM in Brooklyn, he said, be careful of feel-good history. Those who know me on this panel, they know I'm a serious researcher. That I go from not just library to library or museum to museum, but I move from state to state to find the information that I need. And so my argument is always solid. So miss me with the foolishness. Miss me with the, oh, it's not right. Oh, we're divisive. You know, ask Africa if they are divisive. Right now in Ghana, they want the Nigerians out. Right now in South Africa, they want the Nigerians out. Right now in Jamaica, they want the Haitians out. Right now in Barbados, they want them out. Right now. But we have to unify with everybody. We have to be the whooping child for everybody. No more. It's over. It's up. It's finished. So get on code. Get on board. Learn some things. Learn who you are. Sit with the elders in your family. Get their story. You see, I know a story of one of my great-grandmothers who fled the South in the middle of the night with her children because her only son got into a fight with a KKK member's son. And so they fled Georgia and they came to New York. Get to know those stories. I know who her great-great-great-grandparents are. I know their story. On my father's side, my great-grandmother Ida was once an employee of Lucky Luciano. I come from real ones for real. So that woman who bore my grandmother and my father, and I am thankful for the courage that they gave me. When I went to stand at her gravesite, just talk to her for about 2 hours. I got clear vision. I got clear understanding of what I need to do. So then I went back to her grandchildren and got the stories, got the written documents. I was bestowed with them from them a book of my family lineage that goes back to the 1700s. So you may not understand our story. You may not can't grasp it because you are addicted to cultism and you are addicted to feel-good history. And that's problematic. Some people like to absolve Africa for what it's done. Some people say, well, Africa was taken advantage of. Well, go on YouTube and I want you to enter Dr. Perby, P-E-R-B-I, and see what she said. She is a premier scholar from Ghana, teaches at the University of Ghana. See what she said about Africa's role in slavery. Then I want you to put in the Salaga slave market, S-A-L-A-G-A slave market in Ghana. Put to the Nigerian slave markets and go on those virtual tours and get a clear understanding of what they did. You can't throw stones and fight the white T-man without fighting the African. Even Dr. Chancellor William, in his book, The Destruction of African Civilizations, he said Africa must atone for what it's done. So, you don't have to believe what we say. The history is written. The history is real. Our feelings are real, and our fight is just. So, follow us every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m. Thorough Black Talk Worldview with my brother Tad. We got Sister Brooke, Brother Divine, and we have two others who join us on that panel. You can follow Thorough Black Talk Worldview on all social media platforms except X. It's Keisha Fighter on X. And I did that for a particular reason because I could be vicious over there on X. So I don't want it to stay in Thorough Black Talk. So thank you, Knowledge Born, for having us. I appreciate you, brother. You're a real one. You're a real one because everybody who come from the vein that we come from are pissed off, are angry. As the brother said earlier, when he was on another platform and they try to do, in my opinion, disservice to his feelings, disservice to his scholarship, disservice to his people on that panel. And it wasn't a good look. But the mirror is put up before everybody. And when you look in that mirror, think what's looking back at you. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents, their great-grandparents, and their great-grandparents are looking back at you. So remember, we from Brooklyn. Stay thorough, keep it real, and we catch you on the back end.
I want to thank y'all. I want to say to my brother and say he did his thing over there. But you can't sit down with monkeys, rats, and
One
crackheads.
more thing, if I could, Knowledge. Do me a favor, for those of you in the chat. In school, you were taught about the Underground Railroad. Now I want you to study the reverse Underground Railroad and see where that takes you. Thank you for letting me say that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, but you can't sit down with rats, informants, crackheads, and criminals and expect a righteous conversation under no circumstances. Okay, so the informants who inform, who dox, and commit illicit acts and subversive activity. We got words that we call them. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the people you are amongst. Just be mindful. You know what I mean? Be mindful and what it is. So if they not rocking with y'all and they're not rocking with this, F them. You understand what I'm saying? Straight like that. F them. You know what I mean? Because this is more important. You can't purport to be about the future of Black people and doing some of the stuff you're doing. They talk about the divisive. That's divisive. You understand what I'm saying? Like you making strides and now you tapping out, you punking out, and you doing all this. Like this sound like every other leader you want to put in front of me. You understand what I'm saying? You start making moves, you start making strides, and then here come the backhand, subversive, disrespectful type of situation. And then when you say something, all of a sudden you bugging it. When you respond appropriately to the threat, now you bugging. So that's what I had surmised from my research, and I'm glad that I got the people here to say it in their own voice, so I ain't got to say it for them. You understand what I'm saying? I 100% support the FBA movement, the delineation movement, and I think it's one of our greatest strives towards a righteous Black future. So honest to you all, honest to your families, honest to the work that you're doing and will continue to do, and we're going to raise up a Black nation that will make our ancestors proud. You understand what I'm saying? So y'all welcome here anytime. Y'all just hit me. We can set it up. And let's keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep moving in righteous coalition. And that's all that other BS. Understand what I'm saying? And the BSs out here. So that I say peace, love.
I need all y'all on my joint, man. Y'all got to hit me up, man. Brooke, we've been wanting you to come on for a minute. Stop playing.
Yo, I'm not playing. Let me know. What I'm on the world tour with my man, going each and every place with the mic in my hands about these emails right now. So you just let me know.
Yeah, send them emails. Send them emails, y'all. Send them emails. But nah, thank you, Knowledge. Thank you, Knowledge. This is great panel, man. Very, very thorough. I'm glad that you introduced me to these brothers. I was already familiar with Brooke and Divine, but the brother Chad, K Fighter. Very much a pleasure to meet y'all, man.
Same here, bro.
We got to link up.
Definitely. Brother Knowledge Born, appreciate you, family. All right.
Man, Knowledge Born, we appreciate this.
Yeah. All right, family. Shout out to everybody in the chat, too. The lovers and the haters.
Yeah. I've been hopping from all 4 chats.
No doubt. All right, peace, family.
See y'all on the Brooklyn Bridge tomorrow. Thorough Black Talk.
I'll be there.
Painter, brother's letter. I should cut my ear off like Van Gogh. Stop performing at the Klan shows. Watch myself from the audience. Play piano with lit candles. I mean, I'll still perform, but the thrill is gone. I don't feel as strong, maybe cause the will is torn. I clutch in the ball cause I'm sick to my gut. Then I brushed off the dust, stood up like I was touched by healing palms. I picked up my shield and 3 rocks as I'm hearing psalms. Know ye not that ye are gods? And I've been blocked by bouncers, overlooked by the announcers. I'm in the stand with the fans, which told me many of my album was like a counselor. They said songs like Then From Now, got them from then to now. Even deja vu, they said the old man was you. In the reoccurring nightmare, where you kept coming back around. I took a picture with him, then he showed me a picture of his daughter in a cap and gown. He said he put her through college because your words stood up for knowledge. Said, to be honest, you like a prophet. I said, stop it. He said, what made you right before quarantine take us to Nebula in a rocket? I said it was just my journey to the planet of gods, a divine intervention. Just a mantra, I said, for the monsters in my head. Kept reliving, but we true and living. Like 3 Supermen then, he said, who you kidding? That was a beautiful listening. Clan came on and music was hitting. They did 4th chamber while I talked to strangers about his divorce and child support papers. Got to restrain in court for his anger. On the cross cause of haters. As Ghost finish up with the black suede while he dawn. They look around, I'm not on. They search backstage and I'm gone. March finish the set, play the next song.
Nobody would remember. He hardly was a member. But the gods was his avengers. With the bars, always an inventor. From kindergarten to jobs at the center. From the mini mart, parking cars for the winter. Kept a penny jar. What's the odds I get injured? Dreams of a football star was hindered. My lovers died, my brother's demise. My first son arrived in September. Virgo. No more pop locking like a turbo. Stopping in Stockton in my circles. Metanetza, love was eternal. Ancestors, embrace her. Sword in my dreams like Jacob. Wrestle with the devils before I wake up. Or was that an angel in flames who renamed you? Kill a priest to join the Wu-Tang school. Say to them, oh son of man, now children go in the land. Now I'm gonna send them 5 deadly venoms. Freak out, yo!
Yeah,